How do I achieve more career success? How do I earn more? How do I get a better job? How do I develop myself? How do I make myself more valuable? Well, on this episode of the Darius Foroux Show, I share a simple strategy that you can apply to achieve all those things. And that strategy is something that I call skill stacking. And it's something that I learned from Scott Adams. I highly recommend his book, How to Fail at Anything and Almost Succeed, or something like that. I can't remember the title. It's way too long, but it's a great book. Check it out. The link is in the description. And the idea is very simple. So Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, a cartoon, but also a very successful author, he came up with the idea that if you acquire an additional skill, you will improve your odds of career success. Now, the real magic happens when we start acquiring valuable skills. In other words, skills that are valuable in the marketplace and that people and companies want or have a need for. So if we start acquiring those valuable skills and start adding them to our arsenal, we will increase our odds of career success because it simply increases our value in the marketplace. And that's the whole idea. And it is something that not only Scott Adams has proven, but if you look at a lot of successful people, you will notice that they are not only good at one thing. They are often good at several different skills that they combined to achieve success in a specific field. And I have used this strategy to become a successful blogger as well. Look, I'm not the most successful or the best writer in the world, right? I'm not the greatest, or I'm certainly not the greatest illustrator in the world. I'm not the best copywriter, and I'm also not the best public speaker, right? So what I did is I did combine these skills of writing, being productive, persuasion, communication, copywriting, building websites, web design, all those things. I combined them together, made my own skill stack, and used that to start and grow my blog. And now, after 3.5 years, my blog is considered as one of the top personal development blogs in the world. And I reach more than 500,000 people every single month, right? So you can also use this strategy, and it's a very practical strategy. You can use it to get more career success. And the reason why I say, I also wrote an article about this, and I say that the question that you can ask yourself is, what skills will make me more valuable? That is a $1 million question. And I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating here. It's truly a $1 million question, because over the course of your career, you will probably make more than $1 million. The more valuable you are and the more skills you have, the faster you will achieve that. Now, we all know it's not about money. It's all about building a successful career, a valuable career, doing something that you enjoy, but also making sure that you provide value. Now, the question is, when will you achieve that? Some people achieve it earlier, some people later, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter when you achieve it. What matters is that you improve your skills, acquire new skills, and combine them to form your own skill stack. Now, on this episode, I'm going to share 5 skills with you that I think everybody should acquire to improve their odds of career success. And I will explain for every single skill why that is. So let's get started. The first skill is productivity. Now, a lot of people think, is that a skill? Yes, it is really a skill. Personal effectiveness, in other words, how well are you at achieving goals? How do you perform, right? Are you somebody who gets stuff done or not? And it is really that black and white. There's a very big part in the middle, and that is where most people live, and that is mediocrity. Most people, and I was like this as well, I was very mediocre at productivity because I never thought about it as a skill. So I want you to look at productivity as a skill, and as everything that we talk about, skills are things that you improve. So that's why I really like this strategy. It is something that everybody can use to achieve more career success. And we all know that, look, if you achieve more career success, right, if you provide more value and are acknowledged for it as well, you feel better about yourself, you start making yourself useful, and that is when people start feeling happier. And that's also my philosophy, right? So productivity is truly, I think, the mother of all skills, because the more productive you are, the better you are at learning and acquiring those skills. So that's why I put it at the top. This is not, remember, this is not a ranking. Some people think that I'm ranking skills. I'm not doing that. I'm only ranking productivity. What comes after productivity, you can discuss, you can have a discussion about it, right? It's very difficult to make a real ranking, but productivity, I think, is the number one skill that you have to learn before you start doing everything else. So when I started blogging, right, people started asking me about things of like, I studied marketing, I have a master's degree in it, and my background is in marketing, started businesses as well. And people were like, hey, can you teach me that kind of stuff? And I was like, why? I don't understand, because why do you want to learn how to build a business if you can't execute in general, right? So you want to improve your productivity skills first. That's the foundation, I think, of all achievement in life, personal achievement, professional achievement. If you are a person who executes, who gets things done, who says something and also goes out and does it, right? Then you can basically achieve anything that's within your control, right? You can't do things that are outside of your control, right? You can't grow taller, you can't fly, all those things. We get it. People are like, hey, yeah, you can achieve everything, but yeah, I can't become an NBA player. Well, we get it, right? You don't have to tell us. We understand that there are some limitations, but over time, if you put in the work, you can achieve almost everything in life. So that is why productivity is the most important skill to acquire and to improve. Now, the second skill that I recommend is writing. So we are all writers. We communicate throughout the day with our friends, with our coworkers, with our boss, with our partner, with everybody. Now, what I think is that you become a better communicator if you start improving your writing skills. And the reason is because writing is nothing else than putting your thoughts onto paper, into words, right? That is a process that requires real thinking and energy. You have to sit down to write something often and think about it. How am I going to communicate the things that I have in my head in an effective way? And what I mean by in an effective way is that the other person or the other party understands what I'm trying to say. So think about it. How often do you get miscommunications in your relationship, at work? Oh, I didn't mean this, right? That is because we don't take the time to improve our writing skills, and automatically, when you start improving your writing skills, you will become a better communicator and a better thinker. And it all starts with writing. So this is also something that I never knew in the past. Like I was like, hey, I want to become a better thinker. I want to become a better speaker, a better communicator, right? But how do I do it? Well, you can go and take a public speaking class or take a communication class or read a book about it. But it's much more effective to start at the basics, and that is writing, putting your thoughts into words and communicating yourself and making sure that other people understand what you're trying to say. And writing does that for you like nothing else. So that is why I think that writing is a very valuable skill. It's because most people don't know how to express themselves. And if you do know how to express yourself and you're always clear in your communication, and you don't waste time and you don't have misunderstandings, or at least you minimize it, then you are a person who not only gets things done, but also make sure that you can communicate yourself to others and make sure that people understand you. So that's why I think that writing is a really important skill as well. And then skill number 3 that I recommend is psychology. And again, just like productivity, we can think, well, is psychology a skill? It's so broad. People study it for a lifetime. So I'm not talking about becoming a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a psychology expert. So what I'm referring to as psychology is just a basic understanding of human nature, understanding of why people do what they do. What are some of the laws? What are some of the dynamics? How do we respond to certain situations at work or in our personal life? Now, you can do, I can do like 10 videos on psychology or 10 episodes, but it is such a broad concept, it's such a broad field that I don't want to minimize what it actually means, the impact that psychology has had on human nature and human progress. Because if you look at the work that psychologists and psychiatrists have done, it has helped us to understand ourselves better. And that is, I think, why it is so important. If you understand people, you will get better at working with people. And as you and I both know, is that if you want to be successful in life, you have to work with others. There is no one on this earth who became successful just by themselves, right? We all have to work with people. So the better you are at psychology and the more you understand yourself and others, the more successful you will be at your job. And then skill number 4, persuasion. And this is something that is related to writing and psychology. I think if you combine those two things, then you have persuasion. But it's a whole different field as well. A lot of books have been written on this topic. A lot of research has been done. What it all comes down to, I think, the way that I describe persuasion is that it's the art and science of influencing people in an ethical way. And the reason that I mention in an ethical way is because persuasion has been abused for years by charlatans, salespeople, people who just wanted to get other people's money. And I don't think that's what persuasion is about. Persuasion is, I think, a win-win situation because if you look at our life, right, we have to continuously persuade people to listen to us. And that's what it all comes down to. Persuasion skills determine how well others listen to you. That's all there is to it. Now, it doesn't mean it's also simple to acquire because it takes a long time to really understand what makes people tick and the way that you should talk to people. And that's all these things are very subtle. So I recommend acquiring the skill. Spend time reading those books. I have more books on all these topics, on writing, persuasion, on productivity on my reading list, and I will link that in the description as well. So check it out. But everybody learns in different ways. So you might want to watch videos, listen to audio, read books. Doesn't really matter. What matters is that you take the time to acquire these skills that you don't have. Because look, how many people do you know, or maybe you are one of these folks like I was in the past as well, is that you might be good at your job, right? But if you suck at working with people, if you don't have persuasion skills, then you will never achieve a certain level of success because at some point, and not everybody, right? If you want to be a leader, if you want to work with people, you need those skills. So if this is an example that I often use. If Mark Zuckerberg stayed a programmer, and if he was still programming Facebook, Facebook wouldn't be Facebook, right? At some point, he stepped up, he acquired other skills like leadership, right? Persuasion. And that's when Facebook started growing, not because Mark Zuckerberg was such a great programmer, but because he had a vision, he had a strategy, and he also knew how to persuade investors into giving him money, right? So that's a really important skill as well. And then the final skill is personal finance. At some point, we start making more money in our career, right? And we need to know what we have to do with that money. And that is basically what personal finance is about. It's, I think, on this list, one of the skills that is relatively easy to acquire and also easy to apply because the rules are so simple. And one of the rules is always live below your means, right? don't spend more than you make. And it's very simple, right? But most of us never live by those rules because we didn't take the time to acquire the skill, to learn more about it, and make sure that we have our personal finance in order. And money plays such a big role in our lives that we can't neglect to study it. And that is personal finance. So these are the 5 skills that I think every single professional can acquire to increase their value in the marketplace and automatically increase their odds of career success. Now, Scott Adams says every skill that you acquire will double your odds of career success. And I believe that as well. So we talked about these 5 valuable skills. Now, what skill do you think is most valuable? It doesn't have to be one of these 5 skills. Let me know in the comments what skill you think is most valuable, and I'm always willing to learn more because I'm always on a look to acquire new skills. So let me know, and until next episode, feel free to subscribe, like all those things to help support the channel and the podcast and the show. And until next time, like always, take care.